Hey, Mandatory Quest here. This is a video of a stream, a recording of a stream that I did in collaboration with Gloomhaven Digital, who are the publishers and the developers Flaming Foul for Gloomhaven Digital. I really like the game, and hopefully maybe you will too if you haven't seen it before. So this is just some live gameplay from a stream in which we kind of go over the middle part of the game. There are some spoilers in this for some higher prosperity items. So if you are familiar with the board game, and you're trying to save yourself from some spoilers in that, there are some higher prosperity items in this video, and there is also the Eclipse class is also featured pretty prevalently. However, there are no other unlockable classes. We just use the Eclipse, and then we also use the Brute, and we use the Spellweaver. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. If you do, you can always catch me live over at twitch.tv/mandatoryquest every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. So come check me out there. Or you can also see all of the guides that I've done for the game over on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/mandatoryquest. Okay, on with the video. Yeah, and so in Guildmaster mode, what you have is you have Demon's Gate, which is the starting town, and which is different to the regular town of Gloomhaven, but it follows the same kind of pattern. In this mode, though, it's more of a sandbox, and you're kind of just unlocking things as you go, doing different types of missions to unlock different bosses, different items, perks for your characters, level your characters up. There's story missions. So it's kind of like just a mix of lots of different stuff that you may be familiar with if you've played the board game. But also there's a lot of unique content. All of the content and story missions and the narrative content here is all brand new and fresh for this mode, essentially. So yeah, it's really good. Let me put chat up again. There we go. Hey, Nonsensical. When will the full campaign be released? We do not know exactly when. The devs have kind of hinted that it's going to be, around Christmas time this year. That was the last kind of official hint we've had from them. But at this time, there is no official date in the diary for the campaign. But now that the last Stitch update has come out, which was the last update that we had, in that one, they introduced the last unlockable character, which was the Saw. So now every single character from the board game is now available to play. And co-op is available to play in this mode as well. So there's just like a lot of stuff in the game. In terms of if you've come from the board game, there's everything from the board game in terms of items, characters, monsters. It's all here. So it's just laid out in a slightly different way at the moment until the official campaign comes out, and that will be a like for like. So we're going to play some Spellweaver, Night Shroud, and Brute today. So we're only got one spoiler class in. So these two are our starting characters that you can play right from the beginning. This is a character that you can unlock through doing the achievements, which is the other unique thing for this game and for this mode, is that you use achievements to unlock things rather than using some of the other methods in the campaign. Which is like the life goals and things like that. You actually have different things that you do in order to unlock characters. So lots of different things that you need to do, but there's quite a lot of spoilers and things in there, so we'll try and skirt too much away from that. So we're gonna do some missions. What we'll do is we'll do what kind of mission should we do? Let's do a story mission maybe. I think a story mission would be nice. Yeah. So let's go do... so this is... I think this is the second Spellweaver story mission in her tree. Each character has 3 story missions that they get. And this is essentially story mission number 2. And they get 3, then they get a boss mission, they get a combined boss mission, and then there's also an overarching final boss mission once you've done all the bosses. So... also added in this patch was battle goals. So this was not in the game up to this point. In the board game, these unlock you perks or check marks towards perks. Because you unlock perks through the achievement system and through completing the story quests in Guildmaster, these just give you XP, basically. Your health at the end of the scenario is equal to your maximum health. We can probably do that. Loot no gold is fairly easy, but it's not... You really do like gold. I think we can probably... have full health at the end. Straggler, which is take only long rests during the scenario. That's not too difficult for this character to do. This character uses invisibility, so this is something that's possible. You have the end of the scenario is equal to 2 or less. This is pretty bad, so I think we'll go for the long rest one. use no items during the scenario. This is it's very easily doable. However, it's obviously it's a big reward, 6 XP, but unfortunately this is our best character out of this group, and we've got a lot of items, so we're going to need to use items. Kill 1 or more elite monsters during the scenario. Much more reasonable. Depending on how hard these are, depends on how much experience points they're going to give. So 3 for the easier ones and 6 for the harder ones. So we'll go for the easier one here because we really want to use our items on this character. Is everything randomly generated? So there is lots of replayability. There are elements that are randomly generated and there are elements that are not. So every scenario has been designed in the sense that they know what enemies are going to be in there. They know what map tiles they're using. They know certain elements that need to be in that particular scenario. However, the layouts for the rooms are actually randomized. So for taking this mission for an example, so in this scenario, it's always going to be these 3 tiles in this arrangement. However, the trap placement here, where you've got some traps, the enemy placement, and actually the enemy types sometimes will change depending on each time. So that is kind of like a random element to the game. So you don't necessarily have the same puzzle every single time when you're dealing with enemies and stuff. Yeah. So there's random elements to the way that the game sets up, but also, you know, the scenarios themselves aren't particularly random. The job missions can be a bit more random because they are kind of created from a pool, so you always have 3 available to you, and they just give you more items and XP. However, they are random from a pool, so you can have 3, and when you come out of missions, then they'll refresh the pool, and you get sort of different types. I think I need to change my battery of my headset briefly. Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I think the randomization in this game is pretty good. I think it's good enough so that if you're used to the game, you can still get fun, but it's not so random that sometimes maybe the randomness can make it feel unwinnable. Like certain games that maybe have random elements to it, the difficulty can sometimes, that can be a bad thing, right? Whereas I think that you can see what enemies are going to be in the scenario. They're always going to be the same, and you can plan and bring, you know, the right mercenaries or the right cards or the right items in order for you to actually have a good time with it and be able to plan accordingly and not maybe just lose to some like RNG setup. Okay, so with these characters, the Brute is kind of like our frontliney tanky character, so we definitely want him at the front. Our Nightshroud is like our assassin character. What this character does really well is kill enemies in one hit, but killing only normal enemies at the moment, level 1, where we can only kill normal targets. Normal targets are ones that are not elites, so this is an elite. You can tell the different types of enemies. Elites are just slightly stronger versions of the standard ones. So they usually have a bit more health, maybe some more shields. Perhaps they actually do something different with their attacks. Their movement might be bigger, might be smaller sometimes even. And their attack is usually different too. So you can see here that there's range 4, attack 2, move 4, versus the standard one here is 4, 2, 4. It's actually it's the same. So these ones are actually the same. It's just health. It's actually just health on these imps. These are 3 and 3, and this is 3 and 2. So this regular one doesn't have quite as much. So what we want to do on this turn, we've also got traps here. Traps are really important for helping you do damage to enemies outside of attacks. So being able to attack this guy and push him into a trap would be a really good thing for us to do on the first turn. So what we will do is we will aim to do that. I think it makes a lot of sense to try and do that. So we can use whirlwinds here. I can go here and I can actually push one enemy. So I can push this here and then I can maybe disarm, or I could push... So the traps... Okay, so the traps do 6 damage. So I think probably the best thing for us to do here would actually be to push this guy into this trap and disarm him. That means we kind of kill one enemy off. We also open the route for our Night Shroud to go in and start killing these imps, because our Night Shroud really wants to focus the imps. In this particular room, these imps are definitely the worst thing in this room, so we want to try and kill them. We do need to kill the snakes, but these guys are the ones that are going to really cause us trouble. Also, because this is a special mission, we actually have some special things here, which is the forest imps get +1 attack, which is pretty bad, but our Spellweaver also gets +1 attack. So essentially we just need to we do need to focus these, because obviously the +1 attack here is pretty bad. Our Spellweaver gets a buff too, and we get ice, which is nice, because ice is an element that the Spellweaver uses quite a lot. One of her best kind of abilities is Cold Fire, and this does immediately give us the ability to use Cold Fire, which is nice, which I think we will probably do. What I want to do, though, is I think I want to set up like this. 1, 2, 3. This should allow us to Cold Fire and stun these two. The Elite's going to get in the way, but I don't think there's much we can really do about that right now. And quite honestly, all we really need to do with this guy is to go quite late and make sure that we generate Dark, so that we've got Dark on our next turn for Spirit of the Night. That's like really important for us to do. Okay, so on each turn, the enemies are pretty random. So what they can do, they draw from their own deck. They have 10 cards each, and they will draw like an action from those 10 cards. And there are some that are shuffles, some are attacks, some are not attacks. So enemies don't always attack. Enemies don't always, move towards you and things like that. All of the enemies have a unique deck that they draw from, and they act differently. And as you get kind of better at the game, you'll start to learn these. And this is definitely like a point for improvement, is to start to kind of understand what it is the different enemy types do, and kind of be able to react to that. So as you can see, the forest imps are actually just strengthening and muddling, so they're not doing an attack this turn, which means that makes it pretty safe for us. In fact, that's very safe. The strengthen is a bit rough though, because if they do go for an attack next turn, they could do a lot of damage. So we have to be wary that next turn we can't let them attack. The Vipers are going to be moving, and jump means that they can move through enemy figures and traps in order to get to a good position. And they're actually going to do an attack to poison target all enemies. So they're going to try and do as much damage as possible to all of us. Isn't it only 8 cards? Oh yeah, maybe it's only 8. 8? Yeah. 8 or 10? Why am I thinking 10? Our 10s come from somewhere. Alright, so we'll stun these guys because we don't really want them to strengthen, but it's a little bit frustrating because really we're going to probably need to play that next turn. What we'll do is we'll go here, skip, and what we'll do is we'll push this guy up in here, push him through that trap so he dies. And then what we'll do is we'll disarm this guy. What disarm does is it basically means that they cannot attack. So on their next turn, they just cannot perform an attack action. So that will stop this Viper from attacking us, which is going to be nice. There's a similar unlockable class that has 10. Maybe that's why. Oh, yeah, because we've been talking about that character a lot. Yeah, that'll be why. Yeah. Can't really say exactly why. But yes, chat's right. There's a particular unlockable character where 10 is a number for them. We won't talk about what it is, but yeah. That makes sense. Right. I've got to be a little bit careful here because I can go early and I can kill one of these, but then I have to be a little bit careful with my positioning next turn. Yeah, 8 cards in the enemy decks. Yeah, so the enemies have 8, and two of those abilities are actually shuffles. So that's always something to bear in mind as well. That these guys will have a shuffle at some point. Generally speaking, most of the enemies have, I would say, 1 or 2 abilities that are kind of like their hallmark abilities. They'll have a mix of things. some enemies just attack every single turn. Like archers, for example, they just attack every single turn, making them very difficult and to deal with, and you have to deal with them quickly because you don't get any kind of breaks. Whereas these guys, you know, you saw that. There's also another card they have, which is a very early initiative, which is they basically do nothing. They shield up and they heal. Well, I say do nothing. Makes them difficult to hit that turn, and healing can sometimes be a bit annoying. But yeah, they don't... these guys have a couple of cards like that. So whereas the snakes, I think they only have one card where they don't move, but they can still attack from that card. So snakes are a little bit more dangerous in that respect. Okay. So we got ice again. I don't think we want to use it necessarily. Fire orbs could be a nice one for us to play now. Fire orbs is going to allow us to target 3 things, and I'm thinking we're going to have 1, 2, 3. We're going to have 3 guys alive, most likely. Maybe this one as well. Depends on how lucky we get with our brute draw. Let's go like this. See how we do. 9, 17, and 26. Oh, the other thing I haven't really mentioned is initiative. So these numbers here are the initiative that your character is going to go on. So some characters are very quick. Some characters are a bit slower. Some of them, you know, have more of a spread. So this is quite unique to each character. Each character's sort of initiative values are usually pretty unique to them. And they have a big kind of impact on when you can go in the turn order and what kind of things they're good at as well. Spicy damage draw, yeah. Okay, so we're going to use Spirit of the Night, and we will consume Dark to just get a immediate kill. And we'll pop this. Give these guys disadvantage. Now, one of them is strengthened, so that's a bit of a problem. But we did get quite lucky with the initiative here. This is pretty bad. So this is one of the worst cards this guy could have really drawn on us this turn. The 11 initiative, because it's before our brute gets to go. And it's just going to shield up poison. And poison, it essentially adds an additional damage. Every time you're attacked and you have poison, the enemies get +1. So it can be pretty bad. So poison is great if you get it on an enemy, but you don't really want it on you. It also blocks heal actions. So heals will only remove poison and won't heal any actual hit points. So they're also very annoying because they can stop you from doing a heal when you need to. You say good day, Imp. Eclipse is now forever portrayed by Gene Wilder in your head. There's the draw. So there's our crit. That's what you like to see. That's what you like to see. Right, so I kind of want to be the tank here because I've also got a shield. Shield is essentially negates damage, so it protects you against attacks. So shield is going to be pretty good here. Although with the poison, these two kind of end up kind of countering each other out, really. All right. Not a bad turn. So I need to get 1, 2, 3. I guess I need to be here, really. I would love to get this loot. I think I'm going to have to be here. Good old Fire Orbs. Fire Orbs is one of the Spellweaver's sort of best level 1 attacks, really, that she gets. And definitely one that you're going to probably keep around for a while. Nice, there you go. She also earns XP at an incredible rate, because obviously that gave us 3 XP there, which is a lot for a single action in this game. We've also got shield items. So I did that a bit quick, force a habit, but we've also got armor. So we can spend a charge of our armor to actually add shield against the attack. So now we actually take no damage, which is nice. Interesting. So I could go invisible. 1, 2. I could go invisible on the door here with Cloak of Shade. The problem with that is, though, that I'm not really... I mean, I guess I could go up here, go invisible, and I could use Silent Force to attack this. I mean, that's pretty good. I think we'll go for that. That seems pretty good to me, I think. Invisible is nice because invisible means that enemies just won't... they won't be able to target you while you're invisible, and you also count as an obstacle. So enemies will often just get blocked off and won't be able to actually interact with you, and it protects you. Very good on a character who's got a kind of like a low health pool. Because this character's got a low health pool, you really do not want to outstretch yourself too much. So this really allows you to kind of stay in the middle of all of the enemies without the risk of you taking too many hits. Also, in terms of like who is the focus from enemies, enemies will always focus the closest enemy to them. And then if there's a tie, it'll be done by initiative. So they'll go after whoever went first. So also these quick characters can sometimes unintentionally draw fire from enemies because, you know, they're in the middle and they go on early initiatives very often. So you have to be a bit careful with that. So what I would love to do is do a pierce attack, which we do have. We have trample. So what pierce does is pierce negates shields. So pierce 2 means basically negate 2 shields. So we can use trample here to negate these 2 shields, which means that we can actually get a decent attack off, which is what I think we're going to do. Fortunately, though, we don't really have a very good initiative to do this on. You can always use every card as either the top action or the bottom action, or as a default attack 2, or as a default move 2. But you must always use the top and always use a bottom. So, but what I could do here is I could use my 29 because I want to go a little bit earlier. And I could actually just use this as a default move 2. It's not the best use of a card, but sometimes, you know, you just need to do that. So, I think I might have lost chat. Hang on. Let me reload chat a sec. Boom. There we go. So, with the Spellweaver, don't think we want to do anything too crazy. We could use the top of Frost Armor here, just to do a little attack 3. Obviously, against these guys with the shield 2, attack 3 is pretty underwhelming. But at this point in time, we really just want to position ourselves towards the door, get ready for the next room. So, I could do a loot 2 action at some point. That could be good. No, I can see your navel. You're back. You're lost in the void. Not quite. What we'll do is we'll move here. And we'll spend the dark to go invisible. And then what that does is it then gives us this bonus on Silent Force because we are invisible. And we drew our -2. I mean, we are level 1, so as you level up, you will improve your attack modifier deck. So one of the random elements of the game is the attack modifier deck. Every character at level 1 starts with the exact same deck, the same distribution of cards, and, you know, the same chances of drawing the same things. You always have like a miss. So this is just always a miss. Don't do any damage. And you always have a crit. So every character will always have that. But over time, certain characters get perks as you level up and as you do the quests. Like, for example, we'll get a perk point for the Spellweaver if we complete this one. And that allows us to modify this and make it a lot more streamlined and a lot more geared towards, hopefully, positive numbers and good things that we want to happen, and get rid of some of the bad stuff. But unfortunately, at level 1, we kind of have a pretty mediocre deck. And as you can see here, we've already drawn, you know, we drew our -2. We have one of those, and we only have 1 + 2. So we're just basically level across the board. It's like a 50-50 every time. Sad music. Incredibly sad. Just thinking, who do I go for here? I mean, I can risk it over here and see if we kill. Let's do our move first then, if that's the plan. What's the range on this? Range 3? We'll go get this loot. This is a bit risky because If this guy doesn't die, it's going to attack our Spellweaver here, but... Oh, of course, the +1 attack. Ah, there you go. Always read. Well, the fire was being used anyway, I figured there, Nobu, so... Because the fire was going to be... The fire was waning, so it was already going down. There's also some... achievements for the different elements, although they're all generation. I don't think there's any consumes. All right, good draw, good draw. Not the best. So this is a bit annoying because the enemy is going to be doing a curse. So what curse attacks do is they actually introduce more misses into our deck. You can see them here. So the Brute's already got 2 of them. This is exactly the same as this. However, when this is drawn, it's discarded. So... But this can really clog you up and make it difficult for you to be able to do damage to enemies. One of the reasons why these imps are a really bad enemy and a high priority enemy to kill early is if they just curse you too much over the course of a scenario, you may actually just find it very difficult to finish because you won't be able to kill anything because you'll keep drawing your curses. So the enemy drew a ×2 there, but we have an item called Iron Helm, which is the best helmet in the game, basically, for any kind of tank character, which turns any ×2 drawn against us into just a +0. Iron Helm, as I'm sure people in chat will attest, is pretty damn good. This is a bit awkward, because I really... didn't want to have to deal with this person. Don't usually use black knives. Could be interesting though. I don't think we want to open the door into the next room quite yet, though. Okay, good. They're not doing anything. That's kind of a relief there. I mean, you never know. We could draw our ×2, get lucky. There's +1. You've won scenarios because of Iron Helm. Best 10 gold you spent. It really is. It's very good. You can't get it right away in Guildmaster compared to... in standard Gloomhaven, the campaign, you can actually get that item pretty early on. But you can't do that, unfortunately, in Guildmaster. Wow. I'm quite surprised we didn't draw a curse there. We were muddled. What muddle does is, muddle essentially means that you have to draw 2 cards and take the worst. And obviously an enemy that curses you, getting muddled against them is pretty harsh. That was good. We actually, survived pretty well there. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to long rest. What long rest does is that allows you to pick up all of your cards. You have to choose 1 discarded card to burn. And then that's then kind of permanently removed. Or, well, it's not necessarily always permanently removed, but it's burned, considered to be burned. And then you pick all your cards up and you can go again. So as you see, we've already used all of our cards. So we haven't quite used all of them here. But I will long rest anyway, just so that all of my characters are long resting at the same time. It just makes... things a lot simpler for you, and it means that we're all going to be ready to go into the next room together, rather than somebody maybe later on needing to rest. It's also quite important for this character to long rest, because when you long rest, you also refresh any of these tapped items. You can see here with the little tap symbol in the bottom right-hand corner, and they're quite powerful. And as you can see, this is like an armor item, so we want to refresh our armor, so we're going to be able to tank a bit more later on. Now, what do we get rid of? Don't want to get rid of Trample, one of our best cards. Do you want to get rid of Whirlwind or Provoking Roar? To be honest, we probably would have got rid of Skewer, I think, if we had the option, but that's in our hands, so unfortunately we can't choose that. Maybe it is Hook and Chain. Do like it, though. Everyone likes Hook and Chain. I think we'll use the Health Potion because we're going to get the good value out of it here. You also do a heal too on your long rests, so always good. Let's just swat a new room together. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the card to get rid of with this character is not quite as clear. I would say probably Black Knives. Black Knives doesn't really play into what we're doing with this particular character, this strategy. It's a lot of XP though, so trying to get those cards. Sometimes you'll find cards that are not like they don't give you much XP, but they're very, very strong, or like vice versa, cards that give you a lot of XP, but perhaps they're not particularly the most strongest effects. It really comes down to personal preference. I like to play on the higher levels of difficulty, and I usually try to refine my builds to go for the kind of like the better way of playing. At the moment, these characters are not optimally set up. They're pretty decently set up, I would say, but they're not optimally set up for me. And you can do well in the game, and you have a lot of flexibility to picking a few cards of your choice. You don't have to go down one route. You can absolutely have some flexibility in how you play. And as you get better, you will you'll like be able to pick stuff out on what's good. Yeah. We'll get rid of Flashing Burst, I think. Okay, so let's move into the room. So it'd be good to do Cold Fire to get this stun. Stun is essentially just stops the enemies from taking a turn. On their next turn, they'll have to just do nothing and remove the stun. Stun is the most powerful sort of status effect you can inflict on enemies in the game, so Spellweaver having an AoE of it is very good. Very, very good. I think we want to go Doomed Breeze again, and perhaps use Venerating Wound. So we want to open the door with our Brute here. And we want a nice big movement. To be honest, I might go with Immovable Phalanx just to get the shield rather than this. Depends on what we've got. Provoking Roar is always good, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 gets us to the door, and we also have boots to add an additional +3. It's probably going to work out for us. In Guildmaster, you can reset characters for free anytime between scenarios as well. Yeah, absolutely. Which is also a really good use of that. That's one of the things that I really like about Guildmaster mode, is that in the campaign it's quite rigid on what you can and can't do, which does ultimately mean that as a player you're probably going to be more drawn to the more powerful builds or the more consistent builds, the quote-unquote better builds, if you like. Whereas in Guildmaster, you can kind of find all of those niche strategies and just mess around a lot more without any repercussions. Because there's definitely some builds on certain characters that are amazing, perhaps even better than the optimum build when they're with the right people. And those people have also gone down, you know, a certain route with their card choices. And in a regular campaign game of Gloomhaven, those situations are much less likely to come up. Whereas in Guildmaster, it really does give you the freedom to do that. Ooh, okay, so we've got another trap. We've got bears, though. Bears are rough. They've got high health. They have big attacks. Their initiative is slow, but sometimes quite quick. Here it's kind of pretty quick, 41. Now I want to push one of these guys away. Who do I push into the trap? That's the question. So the trap is 6 damage. It makes sense to probably push this and disarm this, I think. Kind of a little bit rough, because in an ideal world, I think you probably want to be disarming these cave bears at the back, but getting poisoned by these things is really annoying, because it's just going to make these guys do even more damage. Ow. Ow. Good job we refreshed that shield, huh? Oh, they're going to heal the hound up. No, that's not so good. That is not so good. However, that has opened up a very nice kill here for us. A very nice kill indeed. So I think I probably want to go to here. And I think I want to muddle this bear. What we can do now is we can use cold fire here to stun these front three. Which means they're not going to be active. We've muddled a bear for the next turn too. I'm quite tempted to use piercing bow, but I think piercing bow is probably going to be better on a different attack. We're not strengthened as well. So this character, if you get strengthened, that's gives you advantage, which is you draw 2 and take the best. So that's how it's like the opposite of muddle, right? Muddle is you draw 2 and you take the worst. Strengthen is you draw 2 and you take the best. So when you really go for like your big attacks where you're going to be adding power potions to increase the attack value, that's when you really want to be strengthened to maximize what it is you're doing and hopefully not draw that miss. See, that curse is going to come back to hurt us maybe at some point. What we can do here is we can sit down here, which I think is pretty good. And now we can use Mana Bolt and Impaling Eruption. Impaling Eruption is going to be great here, actually. Really good. Got a really good one. Now, in terms of our Brute, we're in a bit of trouble. So now might be a good time to just drop Juggernaut, which is basically on the next resources damage. We suffer no damage instead. This is a really good... Like, we're in a position here where we're going to be attacked by at least 3 things, most likely. So I think Juggernaut's pretty good. We could also just get an attack off of a movable phalanx. The shield isn't really going to do anything, but the Juggernaut will save us a lot of damage. So we want to use Spirit of the Night here, and we want to use Dancing Shadows to make the element again. Away we go. Easy. So strengthen. Wolf howls in pain. Brute visible confusion. Actually, one, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we attack like this. This is also going to get us 4 XP because we gain 1 XP for each enemy targeted along the path here. A little bit annoying that we're probably going to try and kill this with our Nitrile, but we'll see. Nice. There we go. So Spellweaver is very good at just blowing up a load of enemies very quickly. Which does mean now that I can't really do this, so I'm going to have to use this as a move too. But I do have a mana potion to maybe get that back. We use Spirit that. We'll kill this because the shield 2 is a little bit harder to get through than this, and this character also has some more annoying initiatives. Well, let's see if we can... Let's get some damage down on this guy. Oh, or not, I guess. Or not. It actually makes more sense for me to move here than it does for me to play the bottom of Juggernaut. Simply because of what the enemies have done. The enemies are only doing an attack 3 and an attack 2. I've got shield 1 already, and I've got some shield charges. I don't necessarily need to use Juggernaut right away. Also, if I use Juggernaut, this bear is actually going to move here and attack my Night Shroud because he has target 2. So by doing this, I'm protecting the Night Shroud from taking a hit. I'm sort of saving a burn for later as well, potentially. And I want to use my health potion there to preempt the fact that I'm about to get poisoned. See, there you go. Spin Mail's going to stop that. Still get poisoned, though. Even if you don't take any damage, you still, unfortunately, get the negative effects if there was one that was attached to the attack. Which can be good, can be bad. Depends on your view of things, I guess. Icy Blast could be interesting now. It's a pretty good time for an Icy Blast. 3 things. Usually, generally speaking, you're pretty happy with a Spell Weaver to hit 3 things with most of your kind of attacks. Just because obviously this could target way more than 3, you know, in Magical Christmas Land. Generally, if you hit 3 things, it's pretty much worth the value. Also, this character has Reviving Ether, which allows us to get back all of our burned cards, which means we don't necessarily have to worry about getting maximum value out of a card like this. And we've only got 1 more room left. You know, they've got... Once these enemies die, we've probably only got maybe 3 or 4 more enemies left to kill, I would say. So we're fine to burn a card here, so I think that's what we'll do. Now, we didn't really get everything that we wanted here, though, did we? We did not. So I could just move and do an attack, I guess. Maybe use my boots, attack this this snake down. Sure. Now that's the bear's early initiative. It was rough. In Christmas Land, Santa's elves tend to huddle up. You can hit many of them at once. Those pesky elves. Alright, so we'll go Icy Blast. Also, our Strengthen lasts for 2 rounds, so that is very useful. Do I want to move here? I guess I do. Almost had to retaliate there. That would have been a little bit nasty. It's cold at the North Pole. They don't really have much choice. Well, I think the forced labor they're put into to have to make toys, you know, every year. Someone should maybe look into that. I'm having a little look into that. Nice. +1. Get the kill. Get the 1 XP. Pick up the loot. So for looting, you can either play a loot action, like a physical card that actually has loot on it. This is like a radius, so this would be loot from 2 hexes away, you know, from you and everything within 2 hexes, basically. Whereas normal looting is just if you end your turn on a hex with loot, you will pick it up at the end. So generally speaking, I tend to try and just position myself to pick up loot naturally, but having 1 or 2 of these in your back pocket every now and again is not too bad. And certainly if you're used to playing the campaign, then you will know that, yeah, actually it can be super, super good. Getting gold is a very, very easy way to improve your character quite quickly. So that's another thing that's worth kind of mentioning. Spellweaver's getting a bit low on cards now. Ooh. Steady on. We're going to be attacking for 2. We are going to take a hit here of 3 on our Night Shroud. Not ideal. Sacrifices must be made, though. You play too much Scoundrel to not have at least 1 loot card at all times. It's hard-coded into you at this point. Yeah. Well, some of her loot cards are just insanely good as well. There's also that balance, right? A burn loot card is... I'm not a huge fan of, like, big burn loot cards because you kind of give up maybe of having a very strong attack action as a burn card instead, just to be able to do a big loot. But if you can have repeatable ones, which... Yep, that character definitely does. That can actually be really good. Trying to think, what's the best thing for me to do here? I guess I could move 2, then attack... So I could attack up to like 4 by doing it this way. This might be a good way of trying to get rid of some of my curses as well. I still have 3 curses on this character, so doing multiple attacks can help me clear some curses maybe. There's 1. A little bit closer to the door at the other end of the room, this way. Still got a couple of items left that I can use too, but they are quite good ones. We'll wait for a little while. Okay. So generally what I like to actually do on this character is I try and go for the perfect reviving ether. And when we talk about that, that is you basically getting every single card back. So in order to do that, I need to burn cards that do not actually have the burn symbol on them. So I will need to get rid of Mana Bolt through a rest rather than, or through damage, rather than like through the effect that it does. But what I usually look for is something that would be a really, really good back-to-back turn with Reviving Ether and a burn card bottom. And if you look, like Coldfire is actually pretty decent because you could do a loot 2 action and then you could get all of your burn cards back. So that's pretty good. Frost Armor also has a burn bottom, so it also works well with Reviving Ether. So I'm actually going to burn Mana Bolt here. It's like a bit of a controversial one. But with the aim that I will probably get to do a perfect Reviving Ether and get it back anyway. So what I want to do is I want to move 4. I'll probably do a little attack here though with my Frost Armor first. Need to long rest here because that's all I'm allowed to do. It means also I don't need to long rest on the Spellweaver. So that's always handy. There you go, times 2. What's a little bit awkward is I will need to actually loot that with the loot 2 action, otherwise I can't burn the card. So I will sort of sit here and get ready to do it. Worth noting, you can't get Frost Armor back while such a... Yeah, well, you can if you discard it, Naval. So in that situation, you can, but you just have to remember to discard it. So when you play any active ability, it goes up into the top on your character card. So as you can see here, like there's a few active abilities I have on the Brute. What you can do is you can always click on these if they are like a card-based active ability. to opt to discard them. So that's also an option you can do. Same trick with summons. So also the Spellweaver has some very good summons. Same deal. If you want to use Reviving Ether and you still have your summon out, what you can do is you can actually click on the summon icon up here on the Spellweaver to discard the summon. It will go into your lost pile, and then you can use Reviving Ether to get all your burn cards back. So there are ways of doing it, but yes, you can quite easily do that as a bit of an oversight. It's quite easy, but as long as there is the ability to burn and it's an active in some way, you can make it work for you. Yeah. I really like this move 4. I guess I haven't been using Smoke Step very much, have I? I've still got my minor mana potion as well, so I feel like I can maybe be a bit more cheeky on that. So, on the Spellweaver here, I may as well just short rest so that I'm actually involved in some way. Yeah, perfect. So we burn the Frost Armor. So now we have like the perfect Reviving Ether. We'll go late initiative. We're just going to move towards the door with our other characters here. So this allows me to get a free move on the top, and then I've got like what a move. I mean, Whirlwind is a move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Gets me to the door with +2 move. That gives me 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gets me to the door. 7 gets me to the door. So what would be a good top action if I got to the door? See, this is like the awkward part, because I would love to just have Juggernaut up. Like, then I could just go to the door and not really worry about it. But I don't right now. So what I might do is I might play these two together. Play Juggernaut. Get myself 2 steps closer. Then actually on the next turn I can move straight in, and it's really, really simple. So all I need on this character is I need some way of making dark, like Dancing Shadows, I guess. But it's not moving, is it? I might just have to move. Yeah, this is a bit frustrating, actually. Move 4. Paranoid. You demand perfection. No discard until you prevented 2 hits. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily feel great, but yeah. So what I'll probably do is I'll use the mana potion this turn, because we unfortunately kind of can't quite get it all to happen. That's why mana potions are quite nice, because they can prepare you for the next round without you having to really worry about things too much. Now we can move closer to the door. Now we're like good to go. Next round. So here you go. So we'll do the loot too. Now, importantly, if we didn't have anything to loot here, we couldn't actually play this. That's why I left this loot pile here, and I had to position myself here, because if there was no loot pile for us to loot, this would be an illegal action. We wouldn't be able to do this. So this way we get what we want, which is we get the loot and we get all of our cards back. So as you can see, now all of our cards, apart from Reviving Ether, are in our burned pile. And that's what we call a perfect Reviving Ether right there. And basically, we now have a complete full hand again for the next round. There you go. So why this character is pretty powerful, because you have some very powerful attacks, especially early on. She doesn't scale so well in the mid part, I would say. So when so at level 4 here, she's probably starting to tip, sort of flatten out, if you like, but her power curve is really high to begin with, and then it kind of like levels off for, I would say, levels sort of like 5 to 8, 9, and then at level 9 she has a huge spike again. She gets one of the best cards in the game at level 9, but she definitely has a Like she starts up here, and every other player, players like down here, right, character, and they kind of like meet at some point. Like usually around about like level 3 and level 4 is usually where the other characters kind of catch up. Okay, so we have our dark, so we want to go in, definitely. Spirit of the Night is what we want. One, two. We probably want to go invisible as well. Actually, we probably don't want to go invisible, thinking about it. Or maybe we do. If we go invisible... No, we're going to use Spirit of the Night. This does give us some option, though. If, just in case, perhaps we can't kill anything. At least then we can go invisible. If there's only elites, for example. That's one downside to this character, is that you can obviously plan, but this only kills normal enemies. So if they're all elites in this room, this will just be an attack 3. So then we can maybe use this instead and go invisible. Right, so Whirlwind's definitely what we want. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could also use Unstoppable Charge here, actually. Might be actually pretty decent. 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is like the furthest into the room we can get. Like in line here. I feel like Unstoppable Charge wouldn't do it. Plus the fact that we've now got Juggernaut up, I think perhaps we don't need to go quite to that length. So we'll do our old favorite, Provoking Raw Whirlwind. The old favorite, the classic. One, 2, 3, 4. We need to go quite late here with the Spellweaver, I think. This gives us a nice variety of actions that we can do. Either move 4 and use Flashing Burst, or move 4 and use Impaling Eruption, depending on what the room looks like. We'll use those boots right away. Alright. So we've got Normal Bear, Normal Hound, Elite Snake, Elite Imp. No traps, though. Who's going first? So, hounds are going first, then snakes, then bears. So... I probably don't want to push anything. 2, 3 target 2. Poison. I actually feel like I don't want to push here. Nice. ×2 draw. This is a really annoying one where they just shield 5 and heal 1. Sometimes it's okay. Like when you open a room like that, that was like the great time for us. But if you're just about to kill an imp and it pulls that card, man, is it tough. Really annoying. Okay. So we might actually have an okay one of these, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, actually we're not. We'll use Flashing Burst. We'll hit that wolf. We do also have a piercing bow, which we haven't used yet, which allows us to basically ignore all shields for one single attack. It is a single use item though. Once it's been used that mission, it's been used, so we can only use it once per mission. Okay, so I can kill this. Likewise though, I could just hit it for 3, hopefully kill it, go invisible, and then I'll be invisible for my next turn, which gives me some things I can do. It's probably better to guarantee killing it, though. In these kind of situations, it's usually better. Like, for example, this is an attack 3 against 3. I'm level 1. You know, I don't have the best deck in the world. So I think I will just go with the safe bet. I've also got an invisibility cape, so I can go invisible myself next turn if I want to. So I haven't got so much pressure that I need to do that. Yeah, so what would be a really good thing for me to do here would be actually to move there, go invisible, and use Silent Force, actually. And then I can long rest on this spot here, blocking off this hex from all of the enemies, making it kind of difficult for this bear to get involved. So that would be really good. I do also have trample, so perhaps it's time for a big trample play. In fact, big trample play would probably be really good here. I still have 2 charges of Juggernaut, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, big trample play coming up. Piercing Bow makes you very happy against that draw. Yeah. Piercing Bow does negate that 1 card. Very, very well. Very well indeed. So I still kind of need to move up here. I'm still in a position where realistically I need to move a little bit closer with my Spellweaver, so I'll do that. I want to be on this hex, really. Then I've got good sort of sight of the whole room. 11. That's a bad one. I'm going to get poisoned, and we're going to use up a charge of Juggernaut. Never like to see the 11 draw out of a Viper when you start next to him. Okay, well, we get to negate the damage at least. Get a curse into the enemy deck as well. So we can curse enemies as well, which is a very powerful and legit strat. There are certain characters that can do this very, very quickly. Makes it very difficult for the enemies to hit you. All right, we'll go Invis, and we'll use Silent Force, and we'll get the bonus now. Bonus and the XP. Oh, no, not really what I wanted to do. Is that another curse? It is another curse. Right, so we can stun these 2. So I was going to use Trample, but it doesn't feel like that's the best thing to do anymore. Actually, it almost feels better to drop back here and use the top attack here. I'm going to do that. Oh, and there it is. And there's the curse. Classic. So even when you make kind of perfect plans, you know, the enemies can still kind of really screw you in this game. No matter how well you plan, you've still got some RNG with your deck. You've got RNG with your deck, RNG with what the enemies are doing. Right, so we have to long rest because that's what our battle goal is, and I'd like to try and get the extra XP for doing that. Also, because they're invisible, they can just safely long rest. The enemies can't do anything about it, which is always super nice. I will probably actually go invisible on the Spellweaver as well here on the door. Makes it difficult. Oh, these guys have got jump, actually. Okay, they have jump, so not so difficult. What we've actually done with Mana Bolt as well, I haven't talked about this yet, but we've actually enhanced this card. So you can unlock enhancements that you can place on these little dots. Now, Strengthen is giving us Strengthen, which is advantage. It's a very strong position for this. One of the best kind of enhancement possibilities in the game is to whack Strengthen on the bottom of this. But as you can see, there are some where you can increase more damage. You could put poison or wound or disarm on these. You can spend loads and loads of gold. Like, there's things that cost hundreds of gold to do, but they're incredibly powerful. So you've got a lot of flexibility with enhancing cards as well as you go, and these will stick through. And you can sell these as well, so if you don't like them, you can sell them back and get your gold back. So you can try some out. But yeah, a lot of cards do have enhancements. Some of them don't, because depending on what they do, but a lot of them do. Oh, times 2 draw. On the perfect enemy as well. Don't think I need to go invisible now. I might actually use my Warhammer just as a stun here. The perfect play with this would have been with Trample, but it hasn't really come up. I'm going to zoom. Zoom back here and get this loot. Okay. So probably want to get rid of Enervating Wound, although the top is a nice way to just get a load of XP, isn't it? Let's get rid of Doomberries then. What I find with the Eclipse character in particular is it can be a little bit hard at level 1 to get your leveling going. That can be a bit tricky. It's hard sometimes to really get the XP because this character is very good at doing one thing, which is this. And you'll often find that you'll just go down a linear path with them. This is why this character is one of the most powerful characters in the game, but also is one that does not really kind of breed much like team play dynamics, because they essentially do their own thing and they're very good at it, very efficient. So playing as a solo player, it's not so bad because I'm controlling 3 characters, but if I was sort of playing this on my own in a co-op experience, which you can do, this character is really fun, but can get quite samey after a period of time, I found, because they're just very, very efficient at doing one thing. And once you kind of learn that combination of cards, that combo, ensuring that you can kill something pretty much every turn or every few turns, it can get a bit stale. But there's no doubting it's an incredibly strong character. What do I play as a top with this? I feel like Enervating Wound is just something I should probably try and do over here. Maybe I just move over there. Try and get him. I only need to move 2, but perhaps Cloak of Shade's pretty good. Go after this imp. We'll short rest here. Now. Ooh, redraw on that. That's a good one. We do not want to be losing that. Losing Whirlwind was pretty big too, though. Could use the bottom of a movable phalanx to just start kind of like seeing it out. Yeah, I'm going to go late here and let the bear maybe come towards me. And I can actually use Frost Armor maybe to tank a little bit here. Very nice. Attack 4, heal 4 self. We didn't need the heal, but what we really wanted is we wanted the dark, which we got. So we're happy about that. One, two, three. So this is like the weird thing. I can go use the piston. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Kind of funky, but it works. Well, it's times 2 draw on that. Okay, well, he never really came towards me. Well, in that case, I'll just get this loot. With some good loot efficiency here. And then we can Spirit of the Night to kill this. Makes it very simple, nice and easy for us. We just move to get dead. If I go late, I can also loot 2 here. And I'll actually loot this, and this, potentially. So we've got a good loot opportunity here. We'll take it. So the Brute is kind of free to just play whatever they want. So just play Trample, knock yourself out. Salty, similar to spicy. I don't know about that. Hey, Josh Tuttle. What did I do with Impaling Eruption? Have you been missing a trick all this time? Maybe. So with Impaling Eruption, you can target any number of hexes in any way that you go, right? So let me have a look at let me bring the card up for you. Okay, so essentially what you can do with this card is you can just pick like a starting hex, and then you can kind of just create a path. So you're creating a path of 4 essentially. So all I did was go to the first enemy to my left, then actually back through myself, and then on to the next room. So if you're targeting an enemy like close to you, it can almost kind of, it can arc around and do weird and wonderful things. It just needs to essentially the way it's kind of like, it's awkward because there's a character that has a card that's very similar, and I have to be very careful about how but it's like lightning, right? If you ever played like like most kind of like RPGs, right? They have chain lightning. It's similar to that kind of idea, except that it's kind of like forking along a path. So the path is 4 long, and you can orientate that 4 path however you like. You're just picking hexes. So that 4 could be in a straight line. It could be behind you, then back in front of you, then to the side of you. It's just a path of 4. I hope that kind of makes sense. So Impaling Eruption can be really quite good. Especially with Strengthen to kind of negate the fact that you're going to be attacking with disadvantage if something's next to you. Oh, lovely loot. Look at that. We like to see. All right, and we get some XP on the Brute. Doesn't really matter where we go. We can't get to any loot. Did we leave any loot? 2 piles. Unacceptable. Been assuming the start had to be at the Spellweaver. No, it can be 1 hex in front of her. So the first hex would be in 1 hex in front of her. Like range 1. So the first starting hex will be range 1, and then it's 4 hexes. It's like Yonder's Arrow from Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I don't. Yonder's Arrow? I mean, I've watched that film, but I don't get the reference. Good analogy. Oh, okay, Yonder. There you go. Yonder's Arrow, apparently. Oh, we took too much damage. Well, we managed to do both of our battle goals with our Eclipse and our Brute there. Oof. Doing quite well with the elements. Not doing too shabby with that too. Not bad. Pretty good. I mean, 105 damage done. The Night Shroud damage is misleading because this does not count kills. So the Night Shroud can often look a little bit underwhelming, but we did just kind of execute several enemies in that scenario. So actually this number is quite a bit higher. XP 17, that's pretty much to be expected. A Spellweaver 12, and only 8 here. That's probably a little bit low, but then we didn't really need to go crazy with the brute. We definitely had a few combos in our back pocket we didn't have to use in the end. That was a good scenario. Okay, so we didn't level up or anything. We do have a perk though, so by completing that we unlocked a perk for the Spellweaver. So here's the perk system of the game. So when you're level 1 you don't have any, and then as you level up you get 1, and then as you complete an achievement you can get more perks, and also as you complete those story missions. So this is how you improve your deck and basically make things better for you. I like going for the elements here. I don't think we want to do anything other than that right now. Would like to get some more ice, please. I think ice and fire and ice are the most important elements for this character because of cold fire consumes both ice and fire to be able to do +2 attack or stun. So these are quite powerful and important ones. We've also got a couple down here as well. These are like rolling ones, so these don't count as your modifier. If you pick this, then essentially you get to continue drawing. These can be bad though with some interactions with advantage, and we're playing quite heavily into advantage, so we're sticking away from rolling modifiers. If you want to know more about that, go to my YouTube channel where I have some guides videos and some rules videos where we discuss advantage and disadvantage and some of the problems that that has. But it's a very long conversation that we won't have time to get into today. Do I have a favorite party size for solo on digital? Personally, 4 feels like a lot to keep track of. Yes, 3. I pretty much exclusively play with 3 when I play solo. Because for me, this gives you the perfect balance between being able to play pretty much whatever character you like. There are a few exceptions where certain party combinations wouldn't work very well. Like if you pair 2 with really heavy support characters and then like just a tank that doesn't have much damage dealing ability but just shields a lot. That can be a bit of a tricky one because you sometimes find that you come up short. You don't have enough damage because at the end of the day, you still need to kill things. So you still need to have that damage output. So, but within reason, most of the time, 3 to me means I can do whatever I like with characters. It also means there's the scenarios, in my opinion, are the right kind of length. Because the more characters you add, the more enemies are added to the scenario. It's not more difficult necessarily. You just have more enemies to defeat. So they kind of balance it that way. But for me, that means that the dungeons can sometimes go on a bit long when I'm playing solo, and I like to kind of get through a few dungeons. Like for me, I like to try and get through a dungeon in about 40 minutes to an hour. Like that's kind of like the length of time it usually takes me to play, and that's on stream. So, you know, we're chatting and we're playing away. So that's like a perfect length for me. Whereas 4 tends to go a little bit longer. There are certain scenarios though, like the split mission scenarios where your group has to split up and you have to start on opposite sides of the scenario. Those ones definitely use 4 if you're inexperienced or you're struggling, because they can really hurt certain characters if they're on their own. If you're on your own, one character, and you don't have any stuns or ways to control or go invisible to stop enemies from attacking you, you're going to have a really rough time. So there are certain scenarios that are the exception to that. But generally speaking, for me, 3 has always been the sweet spot for both like complexity, length, and party composition. It kind of hits everything for me. Right, should we carry on with the Spellweaver? We can carry on with the Spellweaver level tree. Some different enemies here. We'll have bandits. We'll have night demons. Perhaps we should find some interesting enemies, though. Some more interesting enemies to fight. There are lots of different enemies in this game, so... Ooh. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. So this is like basically all of the really like high hit point enemies in the game. You got Earth Demons, Earth Demon Elites, Frost Demons, Stone Golems, and Stone Golems Elites. These guys have just got loads of health, right? 17 health, 10 health, 21 health on the elites, 15 on these. These guys generally tend to be a bit slow, though, so you can kind of kite them around a little bit. But they can hit very, very hard. So let's go and do this one. Thanks, makes sense. No problem. Ooh, encounter. Should we remove the dagger? Now, these are another random element of the game. So when you go to a location, you have the chance of an encounter. And there are lots of different encounters that you can have. Also, the resolution is not always the same. So sometimes you do get the same... once you've been playing a while, you'll notice there's some repetition of these. But doesn't necessarily mean that if you pick this the first time, it would also be the correct choice this time. So there's a little bit of RNG going on in that respect as well. If we remove the dagger, I know that we have the chance of getting gold. So I think that's what we want to try and do. But we also have the risk of getting poisoned, I think. So we'll see. There you go. The corroded blade breaks off. You try to remove the dagger from your chest as you manage to cut yourself on the broken blade. You are suddenly overcome with a feeling of intense sickness. You fear the blade was coated in poison. So there you go. Bad times. Weirdly, though, that didn't seem to trigger. I don't know if that's because are we all immune? Are we immune? Not sure why that should have triggered then. Not sure why it didn't. Maybe it will when we go into the scenario. They should have had a little pop-up there to say we've been poisoned. Loot 5 or more gold piles during the scenario. That's very easy. Kill 3 or fewer monsters during the scenario. Nope. Loot chests during the scenario. Now, interestingly, this is a relic mission. Now, relic missions are ones where you can get a powerful item. So the reward is the XP, but also there's going to be a chest, guaranteed chest with a set item in it that is the same item every time for this mission. So it's like a special kind of mission to get a special item. So I know there's a chest. So I can actually quite comfortably go for that one, knowing that there's a chest in this one. But sometimes it's not worth doing it because the chests are randomly put in the scenarios, and they're only randomly put into job missions. So if you're not doing a job mission or a relic mission, it's usually not a great idea to take that battle goal. The Night Childhood laughs at their HP. True. Night Child doesn't care about HP, just immediately kills things. But if they're elites, he's going to struggle with the elites, right? Kill an undamaged monster with a single attack. Well, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen here. Right, I was thinking about maybe changing a card here because I felt like we were a bit weird. And I think it was Black Knives is the weird one here. Dark Cloud is a pretty nice little attack. And the bottom could potentially generate a Stark. I also really like Wings of the Night for just guaranteed invisibility. Invisibility is probably going to be very good against these guys. So I'm actually going to take Wings of the Night here for this particular one. I do like Dark Cloud, though. Trying to think if there's another one here that we might consider. I would sometimes consider getting rid of Enervating Wound. But the move 4 is... This character is very, very slow at movement. Its movement is pretty bad. This character has a big movement problem from level 1 to... I would say, like, it gets better at level 2, level 3. You can certainly enhance to get better. You can enhance movement on this card. Make it a bit bigger. But this character definitely struggles with movement. So just chucking in a move 4, I think, is useful. Is there anything I want to change here? I could consider chucking in the Mystic Ally here, which is our summon. That might be quite good in this scenario because these guys are all... They're pretty much all melee, I think, right? Yeah, this guy, though, they do have a Retaliate ranged card that they can draw, which is pretty nasty. But Frost Armor, to me, is not going to be as good in this scenario because we don't have that element generation every single turn. So we're not going to, reliably be able to use the top of this all the time. So in that respect, I think Aid from the Ether might be better. So we'll go for Aid from the Ether. Nice. Just got to hope that those stone golems don't draw that retaliate range 3 card all the time. Well, we've got none of them in the first room. That's good. So all enemies get +2 moves. That's pretty bad for us because these guys don't usually move a lot, but now they're going to get +2. So they are going to be in our faces quick. These guys also have high retaliate. As you can see here, they've got retaliate 2, which means when we do damage to them and they don't die, we take 2 damage back, like reflect. I think other games like call it like reflect and stuff like that, like a Thorns style effect. So we have to be a bit careful with our brute and with our Night Shroud here. Now, we've got a normal, and 1 elite. So the Night Shroud should absolutely have a field day in this room. So what we want to try and do is we're probably going to end up short resting. In an ideal world, I would also have a stamina potion here, actually. But we should have a really good time with this character. Like a really, really good time with this character. We're going to want to put damage onto the elite because that's the only one we can't kill. But what we'll probably try and do is we'll probably try and range burst one of these down, and we'll probably just try and kill one of them. One of the reasons why I like Wings of the Night is it does give me the ability to kind of just go invisible fairly easily. I don't have to worry too much, which is nice. We'll put the brute there. We go 1, 2, 3. So what I might do is I might summon my Mystic Ally behind me here this turn. And then I might go for a Fire Orbs late here. There's a good chance that if I kind of get my... Because these guys are melee, so there's a good chance that if I chuck my brute here, then these guys are going to move up. Well, this one should move up into 3 range. This one will also be in 3 range, and there's a good chance this one also will end up kind of moving around like this. So... Disarm is probably where I want to be. Is there any... Okay, there's some hazardous terrain here too. So I could push some things into some hazardous terrain at some point. What I might do is set up Skewer as well, I think. That might be a good idea, because Skewer is also good against retaliate enemies, because I can give myself some range. I think that's a pretty good first turn. Nice, that's what we wanted. Wanted Spellweaver to go last. One of these two to go first. So this is obviously a little bit bad because of the retaliate, but this guy's going to attack 3 with Pierce 3, and he's going to consume anything. Ooh, he's going to consume anything into ice. That's actually pretty bad. Well, let's hope he doesn't take the dark, shall we? Ooh, stun. This guy's still going to do it, though. That could be annoying. So this is one thing that is a bit different compared to the board game and the video game. So in the board game, you have a choice over ambiguity. So if 2 things could happen, then you can pick which of those 2 things. Like, so if, say, for example, what's going to happen now is we're going to have 2 elements that are going to be up here, right? And the Frost Demon is going to want to consume 1 and change it into ice. We could choose because there's 2 elements there, right? Because it's any element. That's ambiguity. But in the video game, in order to speed the game up, these sorts of things are randomized. So, like monster movement, things like that. It's all randomized. So that does make things a little bit tricky at times. So I've got to hope now. Realistically, I've got to just hope. That they take the air. No, they took the dark. I shouldn't have said anything. And then the other guy... Oh, so they... The other guy chose the... Again, in that situation, we could have chosen ice. So we don't get either of our elements there, which really blows. That is not great. That is really not great for us. It's a bad round, really. I do now, though, have cold fire, so I can stun some things, so that's good. I can probably just go in for silent force instead now, too. And I just need to remember to create dark for the next turn. Which I can do. I'll have to do through Dancing Shadows. I want to go quite late with Silent Force, I think, here. Might need to pop Juggernaut. Might be a Juggernaut straight away off the bat. Because, well, actually, we're going to stun these guys, so maybe not so much. Yeah, I'm okay with that, actually. Shield 2. Okay, so these guys aren't even doing anything. That's great. Move 2, attack 4, immobilize, target all adjacent enemies, and push 1. They got no leaf, so they're not doing the push. Oh, this is fine. We can deal with this. The Mystic Ally is great, because it can obviously deal with enemies really well. Now... Oh, hang on. Before I do this, I should do this. Absolutely. It's interesting what to stun here. It kind of makes sense to attack these two. Yeah, and I guess I'd probably use my Spirit of the Night on this Earth Demon next turn. Okay. It's a bit annoying because we're going to get hit by this Earth Demon. It's only an attack 3 on our Spellweaver. I'm sure we'll be okay. I'm sure we'll live. Actually, it's maybe better to go like this and this, right? These two. Yeah, these two. Ooh, ×2 on the elite. Nice. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. Interesting. And I guess I should try and go for the kill. Oh, I should have gone for something else. Typical. I won't use any of my health pots quite yet. We're not quite in the danger zone yet. Okay, great. So, realistically, I probably want to... You see, this is the awkward part, right? I could attack this and not take Retaliate. This guy's got extra health. It probably makes more sense now to actually do this and then do the kill against this next turn. Even though this has got more health, things are getting funky. I think it's because of the shield 2 makes it not really worth it. Would have been great to attack it if it didn't have the shield 2. Oh no! Ah! I should just assume that I'm just going to kill everything. I just assume that I'm going to draw the ×2 every time. Okay. Good. Oh, it's attacking everybody. Well, we don't have a very good turn here, do we? Yeah, so if we were to do Impaling Eruption here, we would go 1... We could go like 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't quite get it. So we may as well drop back and go 1, 2, 3, 4 and just not have to, like, disadvantage, essentially. Even though we have Strengthen, because we'll be attacking with a ranged attack, we would still have disadvantage, and they would just offset. So we would just draw 1 card. But obviously that's not really what we want to do. Icy Blast is not a bad attack here. But considering that we're going to try and kill this with 1 hit, we really only need to worry about these 2. It probably makes more sense to actually do some real damage to them. So that's what I think I'll do. I can hook and chain here and attack for 1. And then... Or I could push him here. I could actually push him over it twice with this, right? What's this? Push 3. 1, 2... So with push and pull, you have to use the maximum if possible with this rule set. That changes in Frosthaven, the new game coming out. The new board game coming out. But this game follows the original rule set. So I'm trying to work out... I think I have to stay put. Because if I do this, I can go... I've got a push 3. I can go 1, 2. I wouldn't be able to push a third. Because this hex is 1, 2, 3 away. This hex is 1, 2, 3 away. This hex is 1, 2, 3 away. So he would remain there. Take his 3 damage. Then I could pull him back through with hook and chain and take another 3 on the way back through. I could kill him. We know we're using Spirit of the Night. We are aware of this. Okay, good. So we'll move to here, actually. So we'll get the loot. Cursing. Alright. Okay. And we'll go get the loot over here. We actually do need to loop with the Spellweaver for the Hoarder battle goal. Ooh, nice draw. +2. This is going to end up like a very, very clean... A very clean room now. Didn't even need the pull. We'll heal 5 because we'll long rest and get the extra 2 back. Move. Do we want a long rest now? I mean, we're in a good place to long rest, but also we have cards. Never like long resting when you have cards in hand. It feels like, we're almost like a little bit above the curve. We had a very good round there. We had a very, very good round. So what I could do is I could move 4. I could attack 1 that would create my element. I could then short rest next turn. And just immediately kill something potentially next round. That could be very powerful. Also, sometimes on characters like this, so the Night Child has a, I would say, like an average to small hand size, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's like a little bit more, but it's not the lowest that you can get, but it's pretty damn low, which means that every time we burn a card, we are significantly reducing our clock of how long we can stay in the scenario. That's one thing that I think potentially new players will make mistakes. If you're playing especially a character like the Scoundrel, for example, she has some good burns. If you burn a few of her cards early, it can be quite difficult for you, and you'll end up exhausting maybe much earlier than you really think you should. And that's just because of the fact that, you know, it's basically diminishing returns, right? You know, if you burn early, that means that next time I'm going to have to rest sooner. Then you're going to have to go again and again and again. So short resting here does not feel great because I'm kind of wasting a whole turn here. I do have a Cloak of Invisibility, which will allow me to kind of keep myself safe in this room and allow me to potentially long rest next turn if I really, really wanted to. But I think I'd quite like to short rest. So we'll open early, and what we'll do is we'll kind of play a few little hedge cards here. We know that there's golems in there. Golems can be really rough. Alright, so there's 2 move. Okay, that's fine. Now, I don't really want to attack him for 1, because they retaliate 2. So I guess I've got to attack this guy. So that's an elite, regular. Oh, Nightchild's having a great time in this scenario so far. Oh, one thing that I found out from the devs, actually, was that they've recently updated a lot of they've added more artwork to the different biomes, which I wouldn't really notice, but this is another one that I definitely don't remember seeing this before. This is the old summon symbol from the board game. Not really used in the video game, but it's a nice nod. Like a little summoning circle type thing going on here. Okay, so we'll attack you. Right, we'll take that. Free bit of damage right there. And we'll go invisible so that we're safe. Oh no. So they're consuming an element again? How lucky am I going to get, chat? Unlucky? Unlucky? They're gonna do me again on this one? Move 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I reckon I'm going to get done again. Okay, let's use... I might just use the bottom of Juggernaut here. It's a pretty safe time to do it. Because they're just moving, and I don't want to get too close to them, really. Bit annoying, though, that they're going so... like, late. I mean, I could use my Cloak of Invisibility, I suppose. That obstacle's going to be... That obstacle's interesting. If I go invisible here, they don't move. If I go invisible here... Yeah, they're going to be kind of in my face, so... Then we'll go for the Icy Blast. And we'll go invisible too. Makes it nice and easy. The enemies now can't act because they can't move through me, so they can't find a legal action to take. So going invisible on a door is a very powerful action. Especially now as well, because I could potentially just long rest here, which means that this door is blocked off. Then if I go super late on my other characters, which I can kind of do, then we're in a good position. That is a good one, but I guess I have to let it go. Can't really lose Spirit of the Night, unfortunately. So 72. Again, I could just long rest here. Might be beneficial as well. All right, don't steal my dark. Oh, thank God. Right, we'll heal up. We're having like a nice hook and chain, actually. Just run into this. Oh, we could go like all the way with our boots, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then attack this for a bunch. We have a great hook and chain next turn, actually. Let's get rid of Leaping Cleave. One of the problems with summons is sometimes that they fall behind a little bit. With the move 2 and the range 2, this is a good summon by... It's one of the best level 1 summons in the game, really. But this does show one of the faults of some summons is that they kind of just fall behind a little bit. And that can be a little bit frustrating, but... Let's get rid of Flashing Burst. So I could kind of like stun this, I guess. I really want to just Cloak of Shade, go invisible, and then Silent Force something. And then potentially use the Dark Element and then Short Rest and get back Spirit of the Night next turn. We're definitely hook and chaining this guy. Alright, let's try it. Okay, they're in shielding. That's good. So what's he doing? He's moving 3. Like, ideally, I just want to be next to this guy. As it was Silent Force there. And we'll create our element so we can short rest next turn. Oh, this is going to be good. Now that is a straight line. That is nice. That is nice. Oh, and we do the extra shield too. All of the shield. Well, we'll use a bit of Juggernaut there. Didn't quite heal through it. Would have been nice if we did. This is set up for a really nice Impaling Eruption this turn, though, but we have to go quite late, so... That is something. So we're going to short rest here. That's a frustrating one to get rid of, but we really just want Spirit of the Night here. It's just so very good on this guy. We're probably going to be using Reviving Ether very soon, I think, actually. Maybe even now. It's kind of a bit awkward, actually. I'm incentivized to kind of just try and kill this one, I think. One, two, three. I could push it into there, but then the Spellweaver takes the hit. That's not the nicest thing to do. They have so much move. Push is nice, but they have so much move. Oh, actually, the Night Child's going to take the damage now. Whoops. Shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. Attack 3 versus attack 3. Well. I guess I'm taking an attack 3. I really shouldn't have pushed this guy. Oh, the miss. That's a let off. It seems pretty rough, but I'm going to be reviving Ether very soon anyway, so I may as well just do this. So, like, for example, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Doesn't matter. I'm only targeting one thing. So what I could do is I could short rest. I mean, ideally, I really, really want to burn Mana Bolt. So what I might do is just long rest to ensure that I do that. Then we're going to have the perfect reviving Ether again. We could use Skewer. We can also use Skirmishing Maneuver. We can't use them both, though. Wouldn't mind just moving towards the door, using Skewer as an attack 3. Or maybe actually Unstoppable Charge as attack 5. Wouldn't be terrible here to go invisible on the door, though, with the Night Shroud. Really wouldn't be. By process of elimination, we must have the stone golems in the last room. Right? This we know. Whoa. And there's that summoning circle. That's new. That's definitely new. That's really cool. And there's that chest we have to loot. Yeah, so this is the Retaliate 3, Range 3. This is rough with summons. Summons will just die to this. The 3 shield, they've got 2. 2 regulars and 1 elite. So again, good room for the Night Shroud. I could actually press into this room because of the fact that they're not attacking. So I could go get the chest straight away. Might be quite nice, though, to... I want to be, like, within 1 move, which I can do with the chest. Okay, we'll go for the chest. We know we need to do it, so why not? Alright, so what's in the chest? Steam Armor. So on the next 5 sources of damage from attacks targeting you, you gain Shield 1. And this is unlike some of the other armor. This is like a 1 use. So once all 5 charges are gone, that's what this symbol means. It's gone. But the good thing about Steam Armor is it doesn't give you negative modifiers into your deck unless you have the special perk that negates that. So this is kind of armor that can be worn by everybody. So it gives you the opportunity to do some tanking with characters that potentially don't have that ability, which is really nice. It's actually not a bad item for this character to pick up. This character generally does like invisibility cape, though, is their like sort of their go-to, but it's not a bad item. Right, so... Yeah, I think I just go here and hit this for 5, right? Ugh, the stone golems. Yeah. Stone golems can be pretty nasty. Let's use Joel Juggernaut. Perfect. So now we've got that loot pile. We've got that elusive loot pile at 2 range away. The dream. And I'll show you like how you can basically replay summons as well. So we can get some really good value here, which we'll try and do. So we're short resting here because we want Spirit of the Night. That is a bad one to lose, but we just can't lose Spirit of the Night. Hang on, did we not generate our element? I thought we did. Oh. Whoops. Okay. Well, I may have jumped the gun a little bit there. That's not that bad. We can go kind of late and move 1 and hit something. That's okay. We can make it work. For some reason, I thought we'd done it. We also have Trample was opened up to us now, so we can maybe go late and try and pull a Trample turn out. We haven't actually done that yet today, so we're going to try. Maybe we'll try and do that now. 67 is the earliest initiative. Wow. Okay. So, when you have a summon, like your summons are up here, and because we can replay this, it's good practice with the Spellweaver to remember to unsummon and cancel any of your summons if you're about to Reviving Ether. Sometimes you might want to keep them out because the actual turn involved with playing them might take too long or might just not be like suit the scenario or the situation that you're in, right? In this particular one, though, we've got some time. I think we can probably get some max XP use. We're also going to get the 2 XP again for playing this summon again. So, yes, please. We'll take that. Again, so now we'll do the loot. Get that loot. And as you can see, we've got the perfect Reviving Ether again. It's satisfying to do that 2 scenarios in a row. Very satisfying. A little bit spicy. The stone golems. Stone golems do make things a bit spicy. They definitely do. Oh, we don't have our boots. Okay, we'll use an earring here. These earrings are pretty powerful. This allows us to refresh all of our spent items. So, for example, if we wanted to do that, we didn't want to long rest, but we wanted to get our armor and our boots back. This allows us to do that. So I'm going to use this just so that I can get my boots back. Because what I'd like to do is I'd like to use these boots and I'd like to run over there and hit both of these guys. Do they have Retaliate? They do not. So what we'll use is we'll use the Warhammer here. This is a great opening combo. So if you're just starting the game out and you want a like crazy powerful combo that, to be honest, you can pull quite often on turn 1. If you're in a crowded room and you're finding it hard, then bottom of Trample plus Warhammer plus some boots to make sure you can kind of like get through everything. Then you get to do a melee attack 2 against all enemies that you jumped through, you trampled over, if you like. And that allows you to use the Warhammer because this is for a melee attack. So then you can stun all of the enemies. So it's like it's a very powerful opening combo in the game. One of the best. This is quite nice because he can't reach anything, right? Oh no, the +2 move. Of course he can. Oh, that curse though. We want to be attacking the elite because we're going to try and kill this next turn very quickly. Right, so piercing bow is going to come in a lot of use here with this shield 3. We need to make sure though that we're strengthened first, so we're going to run in and probably do like some kind of little attacks. Maybe even chuck a heal if we really wanted to. Maybe chuck Icy Blast down. Yeah, I think chucking Icy Blast down is fine. Because I want to go kind of late on these guys. Well, actually, no, I don't. I want to go early because I'm going on... I'm visible right now. So when you're visible, you probably want to go pretty early. We'll redraw that. Provoking Roar is our earliest initiative, and Disarm is just very good against single target enemies, so we'll re-roll that. We can probably play the bottom of a movable phalanx now, just because of where we are in this scenario. We're at that point now where these guys are all going to clump, and we don't really need to move much. I do like playing a movable phalanx early sometimes, just for like really going all in on it. It can be amazing. But also the top is just a very solid ability. So we'll just arm this guy. And we'll play the bottom of the movable phalanx. Now all move abilities can be treated as attack abilities. So what this allows us to do is do some kind of crazy attack. That move 4 now turns into an attack 4 with Whirlwind and Push, which is nice. This guy. Slowly work my way towards the other one. Getting a little bit cursing done too, which is always nice for trying to unlock some of the achievements. The curse achievement is pretty tricky to do. At least without some of the unlockable characters. Yep, not getting through that shield. There's a miss. Ooh. I mean, realistically, I probably just want to attack this with as much as I can kind of muster, really, at this point. So, I guess we just go for it and just pop everything. We don't really care about this guy. 1, 2, 3. I mean, we can get him, and so we will target him because we get the extra XP, right? But we actually really need to do it. Should I short rest here? Yeah, I think I probably should. It's quite nice. Right, so now we got the big attacks. We got the Bottomless Skewer, which is now an attack 6. Not bad, huh? Heal up. One, 2, 3, 4. All right. Not bad, not bad. Um... So we'll do that so we can get a little move. So we'll use the movable phalanx here to actually treat this as an attack 6. And we'll do the regular attack 5. Some good XP right there. We are kind of burning a lot of cards here. Like if we were to, you know, if we were close to the edge here, this would be tricky. We were in a nice position where we could kind of be very aggressive with our burns towards the end of this scenario. Just to kind of get the win. Okay, so we can Spirit of the Night this one. Nice and easy. And I can attack 3. Should be fairly simple. I think we want to use aid from the ether and maybe fire orbs. Oh, hang on. Oh no, it still worked. I was a bit concerned that maybe that would overwrite that. It didn't. We're okay. So we've got 2 XP from Wings of the Night. That's nice. It's nice to earn a bit of XP from this character on something like this. It's not often you find yourself in a position to do that. We are very happy about that. Bit of an overuse there, but ultimately want to get the gold. Only take long rests. Shame. 2 XP or get the gold. Getting the gold is generally better in this sort of situation. It's nice to level your characters up. But actually, the real power spikes in the game come from items and enhancements. So actually getting gold is usually the better option rather than trying to level up. Also, you're never really struggling for XP with characters. Occasionally, some characters might do, so you might feel like you want to spend, you know, the last few turns just trying to farm as much XP as possible. But basically, most of the time, you should probably go for loot. Just because that gives you an immediate power spike, especially if you're playing the campaign. If you're playing Guildmaster, you have a bit more freedom because in Guildmaster, you know, you're probably going to play every character. You're probably going to want to level them up to max. So perhaps XP will be more important to you because if you're essentially wanting to try and complete the game as fast as possible and trying to unveil stuff, then XP is better because XP is how you unlock the story missions, and that's how you kind of get to the end game of this. So if that's your goal, then XP. But if you're looking for like actual incremental, like good power increases on characters, spending the gold on something like a new item or a new enhancement is actually quite a big jump in power level. We'll get the goals because we know we get so much XP on this character anyway. Victory! So we didn't really get this done. It's tough. We just were at the back a lot of the time. Kind of tough on the Spellweaver with stuff like that. So 57 damage done, but the Night Shroud again, this does not count kills. So this would be much, much higher if we were much, much higher, like if it counted the executions that this character has. The Brute, 44 damage done. Pretty good, to be honest, for a Brute, I think. Not bad. 12 XP, 12 XP, 11 XP. So that was good all round for everyone. Really good. And we got the extra XP for the Night Shroud because of this. That's great. Pretty good. Happy with that. There's that 7 XP. And there's our armor. Got a level up on the Spellweaver as well. So level 5, we've got Chromatic Explosion, or we've got Engulfed in Flames. So we can either take one of these two level 5s, or we could go back and choose a lower level card we didn't choose. I like Chromatic Explosion quite a bit for this character because the bottom sort of move to make an element is a really nice ability to just be able to set something up for either yourself or a different person. It's just really, really good. Works very well with trying to set up cold fire as well. Sometimes you just want to stun something, so you can just move to make the ice, and then on the next turn you've got your cold fire like on a plate. Makes it very simple for you. Engulfed in Flames is a decent attack though. Attack 4, range 3, make fire. It's not bad at all. But I think in this occasion this is pretty good. The burn on the top of this is quite underwhelming if you think about the fact that it's basically the same as our level 1 attack, Fire Orbs, but worse, because it's a very particular grouping which we won't often find, right? Fire Orbs is great because it gives us the flexibility of just targeting 3 things that are at range 3 or less, whereas this is a very specific pattern. Yes, it gives you lots of elements, and that does work very well with other characters, some unlockable characters, works well with obviously the Night Shroud in some respect, but honestly the top of this in terms of power level is pretty weak for a level 5 attack. So really the bottom is where it's at, and then we'll probably use the top before we want to Reviving Ether, right? And that works okay. What should we swap out? I think we will swap out... Icy Blast is probably the weakest card that we have here. We took that at level 2. It's not bad. I don't mind this for guaranteed ice. But now, to be honest, now we've got Chromatic Explosion, this is going to be our guaranteed ice. Also, this is a burn and a burn, which means that, you know, what are you doing? We're either using it as a default move or in a default attack, and this character very rarely uses default attacks. So it's probably going to be a default move, and it's 66 initiative, which is not great. I mean, it's okay, but it's in that middle realm where you're probably not going to be able to go last with it, and you're not going to be able to go before enemies with it. So 66 is no man's land for initiative. You either want really early or you want really late. The guarantee going first or last is really most of the time what you want to try and do. So this card is pretty useless outside of the top for us, really. The bottom's a nice heal, but this is not great value. This is okay value. So this is like a like-for-like swap, really, except now we get a card that we can reuse, which is going to mean that we don't necessarily have to use Reviving Ether maybe quite as quick. So it's always nice. So I think we're going to swap out Icy Blast here. This does mean, though, that it's a bit trickier to, you know, make the ice with the top. So we have to bear that in mind. It would also be probably a good idea to run, like, so for example, if we were to use Chromatic Explosion plus something like Flame Strike, that gives us ice and fire in a single turn. Very cleanly, very easy. Sorry. Not this one. This doesn't give us fire. The Fire Orbs. Sorry. Fire Orbs. This consumes fire. Fire Orbs top plus Chromatic Explosion bottom gives us immediate cold fire follow-up next turn, which is very good. One of the reasons why Engulfed in Flames is a pretty decent card as well, because it just creates fire on the top as a non-burn. So again, very good for just spamming cold fire if you want. And certainly playing this card over and over and over again is a very good way to win in a very nice fashion. Did we unlock something else in the trainers as well? We did. I think like that's pretty bugged, but okay. That might be bugged. I'm not too sure. And we'll unlock some achievements, get some gold for killing some stuff. So I'll quickly go over the enhancement system as well for the different characters. So how enhancements work is you can place certain types of enhancements in different spots, and the cost of this goes up depending on essentially what you are trying to enhance and if the card has already got an enhancement on it. So something like Mana Bowl here, we've already got an enhancement on there. So therefore, this is going to basically go up in cost because of the fact that we already have one enhancement on the card. Also, to enhance something like an AoE, So let's have a look at Chromatic Explosion. This is going to go up mainly because of the level, but also because of the AoE. That's going to put it up. So as you can see here, the base cost is 50 times 2, plus the card level is 100. So it's basically double the cost because of the fact that it's a AoE, and the card level also adds on another 100. So as you can see here, it can get extremely pricey, and adding something like Disarm, which is obviously an incredibly strong effect, is very, very expensive onto different cards. With Guildmaster mode, though, you have the opportunity to earn that amount of gold, unlike, I would say, the tabletop campaign, in which the gold is few and far between. You usually don't get the opportunity to put too many of these really crazy ones on. You might get 1 or 2, but they're probably on a level 1 card, so rather than being on like a higher level card. Oh, we didn't do our perky though. We do our perk. We've got 2 perks because we leveled up and we did the quest. And we did the achievement. So we can get Cinder. And now might be a fairly good time to use Dust. We've got like a nice shift here towards the upper part of our deck. Plus we've got a lot of advantage going on now as well with the Mana Bolt, Strength, and Bottom. So we actually don't mind drawing these, because as long as we're drawing them next to these, it's all good, right? But drawing this against this, we're missing out on a point of damage. So now's probably a pretty good time to use Dust and get rid of those +0s. And try and ensure that when we're strengthened, we're drawing plus modifiers in our deck. And there we have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did really enjoy it, please do consider popping over to my Twitch channel or my YouTube channel and giving me a follow on either of those 2 platforms. This is a really great game, and if you're interested in learning more, some guides, or have any questions, then you can always catch me there. If you go over to twitch.tv/mandatoryquest, so I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, or you can come over to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/mandatoryquest, and catch me there. And of course, if you want to, you can always get me on Twitter as well at /mandatoryquest. And yeah, if you've got any questions, then please feel free to drop by. But it's a great game, and I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy it. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will hopefully catch you again soon.
I think so. Yeah.
That's the blessing from Cowboy. That's the blessing from.
Isaac, at this point, can we get your approval to add an additional attack modifier deck for allies in the digital version?